You're looking at a quilt I made in memory of my daughter, Rebecca, who died just before she was 16. And I made the quilt using items of her clothing, her brother's clothing, mine and my husband's, a daddy's clothing. And the only fabric I bought was black, because being nearly 16, she wore black. And I bought fabric with music on because she played the violin, fabric with horses because she had horses. She had 2 horses, and there's some ladybirds because she loved the garden and the countryside, but I bought very little. I asked her close friends to give me an item of clothing, which I did. So included in the quilt is her pony club tie, a school tie, her brother's army cadet trousers, a school skirt, a brownie dress. I didn't incorporate the badges, and there's some violins somewhere because she played the violin and loved the orchestra, and she hunted much against her mother's. But she liked to hunt. She belonged to a hunt pony club. I did buy some fabric from Laura Ashley with initials, and at this moment in time I can't see one there. And all the way through the quilt it actually spells her full name. It spells Rebecca Louise Crossley. I just cut out the ones, there's an S, an E, a Y. The only thing I had of my mum's was an apron. My mother had been dead for about 10 years, so there's a bit of my mum's apron in, and her dad's wedding shirt. Some of them are quite badly done. This is quite lumpy. When I started to make it, it was suggested to me to make this, and I said no, I couldn't do it, by a girl called Carol Kirby, who used to teach me patchwork, who now lives in Dorset. And she said, why don't you make a quilt using Rebecca's claws? And I said I couldn't, so I put them in a bag and I left it, and she went to a quilt show and brought me back a journal, and she said every time I saw the quilt I had to write in the journal, which I did, and it was quite cathartic, the journal, because I would write things like, I wish you could see your brother, he's turning into such a lovely young man, and lovely things like that. And I said, I haven't sewn it for 6 months, I couldn't touch it, but here we are again. And if you look closely, I can see the quilts, the blocks I started, which are not that well made, because it was quite not a learning curve, it was hard to do. It was hard to make, it was hard to cut the fabric, hard to do, but I am so glad I made it. It's just been a lovely thing to make. I did tell her brother that if ever there was a fire in the house, he had to save the quilt, and he had to promise me he would look after it. But he's so laid back, I'm not quite sure of its destination, but for now it still stays here, and it lives on the banister on the stairs, and so I look at it every day. I go up the stairs and down the stairs.